Hi, and welcome back to the Plant-Based Quick Cooking Show. I'm Karen, coming to you every week from the Center for Plant-Based Living right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, this is one of my favorites. I'm a lover of, okay, first of all, how do you say it? Do you say bruschetta or bruschetta? I've heard both ways. I think everybody's heard both ways, and I've heard that the correct pronunciation is bruschetta, though I have just grown up saying bruschetta, so that's what I'm gonna say. I hope it's okay. Either way, this is a delicious, easy 7-ingredient recipe. Okay, we are gonna be making a white bean and kale bruschetta. Okay, first, heat up your pans. In this pan, I'm going to take a whole container of our little multicolored tomatoes. I know, you can say whatever you want. And we're just gonna let those heat up and blister and just cook down. This is gonna take several minutes. And then all the water from the tomatoes is gonna evaporate, and it's gonna become this beautiful, nice mess of a slurry. And then on this pan, now this is 3 bunches of kale. I'm gonna do something with the rest of this later on today, but we're just gonna be using 1 bunch of kale. So just get 1 bunch of kale, wash it, and tear it up or chop it up pretty small. And that's probably about, oh, jumper. That's probably about that's probably about 1/3 of that. And clearly it's going to just cook down. We'll give it a little bit more for good measure. All right, so that's for something else later on. And I have my vegetable broth to just give this a little bit more liquid, some cooking liquid, if you will. And I have my pans, so this one, the tomato one, is at an 8 through a 10, so it's pretty high. And my kale is at medium, though I'm gonna pump this up a little bit to also a medium high. I'm going to cover both. And I don't have a lid for this guy, but I do have one of these silicone self-stabilizing, self-sealing tops. Actually, this is part of our, you can buy these off Amazon. We have the Center for Plant-Based Living has a store, a plant-based store, and we don't sell these, Amazon sells these. So these are great. Okay, I'm going to let these cook down for a little while, and then I'll show you how we're gonna finish these off. It's great, oh my gosh. Crusty bread, and we're gonna add another ingredient, and it's gonna be awesome. All right, see you real soon. Okay, so let's see how things are going here. The kale looks beautiful, bright green, and it's cooking down really well. It's still on I guess medium-high temperature. Just make sure that there's always a little bit of liquid in there so that so your kale doesn't scorch. And really, it's up to you if you want it really cooked or just barely cooked. I like it cooked down pretty well. We'll let that go for another couple of minutes. And then in here, our tomatoes are looking great. They're starting to break a little bit. That's exactly what you want. We'll add a little broth to that pan, deglaze. Pretty soon these will all just blister open, let out their liquids, and then we will add our beans in there. Okay, our tomatoes are looking really, really great. Every single one of them has blistered open, and there's a good amount of liquid in our pan, which is just what you want, because now you're going to add your white cannellini beans. I like the white cannellini beans. They're an Italian, really plump and creamy bean. and they have a really thin skin. So we're just going to heat up the beans and kind of mash those a little bit with the back of our spatula as well, so that you're making this really nice, beautiful tomato cream almost, or almost like a paste. Now you don't want to, and well, you can, but I don't like to mash every single one of these beans because I kind of like to see them in the bruschetta. But once they get nice and warm, they're really easy to mash, and you just get this really nice, thick mixture. We've got one tomato, there we go. One little tomato hadn't burst yet, but it just did. Okay. Yeah, so we're just gonna let this cook for a couple of minutes, get nice and warm. And you can use your spatula, you can use the back of a fork, doesn't really matter. Just get as many of these little beans broken down. Here we go. And it's just gonna create this nice mixture. And then we will assemble everything. Oh, and I took the lid off of the kale because it's fully cooked to the way I like it cooked. And you can see there's hardly anything in here. Remember how much we put in there? I took the lid off so that I could get rid of a lot of that water. And that looks pretty good now. I'm gonna just turn that off and let it warm. I'm gonna heat this up for just a couple more minutes, and then we'll assemble everything. We are all set and ready for our kale and white bean tomato bruschetta. Look at this thick, creamy deliciousness here. This is only tomatoes and white beans. That's it. All right, I have some big, thick, crusty bread that I just got out of the oven, so it's lightly toasted, just perfect. And what I'm gonna do now is just take some garlic cloves and very lightly rub on the top of that bread, giving it a nice garlicky undertone. So, you know, it's up to you, however much garlic you want to put on there. I like garlic. Oh yeah, you can see it glistening. Oh yeah, this is gonna be so good. Okay, first things first. Take your bread and your bean mixture and just scoop it on there as much as you like. I like a lot, no surprise again. Get that tomato on there. And then grab your kale and pile that on. You know we're not finished yet. I'll make a couple more. Make sure you get all that tomatoey goodness. That's where that really nice flavor is going to come from. Now you could do, you don't have to do kale. You could do spinach. You can do Swiss chard, whatever you want. It's so pretty. This kale is so pretty. You know what would also be pretty is rainbow chard. And if you use some of that stalk, all those different colors, yeah, that would be really good. Okay, there's a little random bean in there. Okay, lots of greens, lots of greens. I mean, it's a complete meal. Like, you've got your greens, you've got a nice piece of crusty whole grain bread, beans and tomatoes. I'll do these two in just a minute. All right, so we have to top it. And you know how I love my balsamic reduction. Not that I ever am like trying to find a reason to use it, because you can, I mean, I would just drink this stuff. It's crazy. Grab your balsamic reduction. Remember, buy it, don't make it. No, make it, don't buy it. Jeez, make it, don't buy it. And then you just, it doesn't need a lot. You don't need a lot. Ah. And there you go. I don't even know what I'm going to call this yet. I actually just did this, made it up or just put it together a couple weeks ago. I didn't have too much in the house, and this is what I put together, and it was delicious. So I have to figure out a name for it, and then hopefully you can make it in your own home. And if you do, let me know. I'd love to see you. Tag me on Instagram or Facebook, and let's enjoy these together. All right, thanks so much for joining me this week. I'll see you next week with another plant-based quick cooking show. Take good care.